new complement Western Union, the fastest way to send and receive money worldwide. And furniture for Watchdog provided by Hubbard's. Good evening, welcome to Watchdog. On our program this evening, no stranger to Watchdog, former government minister, still the Member of Parliament for St. George South East, Mr. Karl, and of course Andrew. Gentlemen, good evening, welcome to Watchdog.
Good evening, and thanks again for inviting me here.
Definitely. Folks, as you well aware, a lot is happening. There's been a resignation, of course, but there's one statement that really got my attention, and when we come back from the break, I want to pose a question firstly to Mr. Karl. We'll be right back.
Owning a vehicle is a big investment. That's why care and regular maintenance is of high importance. At Hubbard's Motor Department, our experienced and qualified technicians will provide the recommended care and maintenance, ensuring your vehicle is in excellent working condition. Visit Hubbard's Motor Department in Mungay, St. George. We'll do the rest. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable pricing.
It's the end of the month again. My son's rent is due.
Sending money to your children studying overseas is easy. Western Union's safe and reliable service lets you transfer money everywhere in the world.
My son is doing well at school. That makes me proud.
Western Union, moving money for better.
Chillaxing with Glenelg Spring Water. Coming to Hubbard's, Thursday, September 27th.
Why this brownie tastes so tasty? What's in it? I'd like to know. How you cook this chicken curry? Tell me why it tasty so.
Baron sauces is the answer. Baron flavor all the while. Baron makes your food taste better. Garlic sauce, Chinese stir fry, West Indian hot sauce, it's a winner. Passion fruit sauce, tasting great. When your friends come round for dinner, your food so good they can hardly wait. Baron makes your food delicious. Baron makes food tasty.
Unlimited talk, $75. Talk unlimited to over 50 destinations. Unlimited talk to all local landlines. Landline to mobile, 45 cents. Sign up now.
Watch Talk Clip.
We now return to Watchdog with Godfrey.
Welcome back, folks. And we have Minister, not Minister, I do apologize. Or you prefer me to still call you Minister?
Well, in a sense, I'm still minister.
I'm still a member of Member of Parliament. Mr. Hood, two things that really got my attention. One was that in one of the address, an interview actually with the Prime Minister, Channel 6, one of the statements he made is that there were no alternatives provided, you know, as it relates to community projects and so. Is it true? I mean, I've heard you said before that you've asked on many occasions for projects and work to be done in your constituency, but the Prime Minister is actually saying that is not the case.
Well, how do I be kind on one hand and yes, be forceful on the other hand?
The truth, the ugly truth, and nothing but the truth.
Well, the ugly truth is that that statement by the Prime Minister was not true.
Okay.
It was false. And I'll tell you why I could say it's false, because there's documented evidence to prove that the statement was false.
Okay.
You recall my statements during the budget. I wasn't very happy with a lot of things, and I said so. And I spoke about the way in which we squandered 3.5 years in office, squandered the goodwill of the people and all of that. And after the budget, Prime Minister wrote me a letter asking me to pretty much explain myself, really. And I answered him. I wrote a 9-page letter back to him.
Explaining yourself.
And in the letter, I explained myself. And I also, and let me just read one part of the letter. I said to him, apart from the constant infighting in the party which had stymied growth and good governance, the way the party is viewed by person on the ground and the attitude of person in your inner circle create problems. I told him that in the letter. And the date of the letter is the 29th of March. And I handed him the letter. 29th of March.
What year? This year. 12. Okay.
Right after the budget. But then, even more so, here is another paragraph that I think it speaks volume. I said to him, I am sure you can recall my words in cabinet where I pleaded for support for the constituency. I begged to get the roads in Murian and Library fixed. I begged to get the bridge in Confer repaired. This is almost 4 years in office and they are still in a state of disrepair. The bridge in Confer is still an eyesore and an embarrassment to me. So how could I accept that? How could I respond when you catalog the many projects done in your constituency and I can't speak of any done in mine? Whose side am I on? Am I in the opposition? So I say this with all respect that I can muster. Speaking about accountability, as Prime Minister, you can only be accountable to the people of South East St. George when you are accountable to the person they have elected to represent them, me. When I stand in Parliament, when I speak in Parliament, I speak for the people who gave me the confidence to represent them. I am their voice, and their voices must be spoken and heard above all the clamor, the infighting. I report to them. That's why I want the paragraph in the letter I sent to him. To say that, we had no alternative or we offered nothing. It can be true. It's just not true. And to make it seem as though I do not represent the constituency, that is so far from the truth. Because I know what I did. He knows what I did. The whole cabinet knows what I did. And anyone from cabinet who said that this is not true, they'll be telling a lie. Because
let me cut across you on that specific point. You say anyone from cabinet who says that's not true will be telling a lie. You think you can count on any of the or let me rephrase that, on all of your cabinet colleagues to in fact attest to the veracity of that, or only those who are seen to be the rebel group or your supporters or your clique?
Let me put it this way. I cannot count on anyone to speak the truth.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
But I know what the truth is. And the Prime Minister knows what the truth is. If this was false, if I wrote you a letter like this and you know what I said is false,
you would have expected me to refute it.
Why don't you refute it?
And that has not been done.
It has not been done.
Now let me ask another question. I'm sorry if you don't mind, Mr. Hood, Pastor Hood. On a previous watchdog, I think either much earlier this year or last year, you in fact did articulate quite a few projects that had been done in the constituency. You do hear on the ground people say that you didn't do anything, you didn't do enough. You now say that here are all these projects that weren't done. What's the truth? What's the reality? What's been done? What's not been done?
The reality is that things has been done.
Okay.
Not enough, I must admit, but things have been done. For example, you go to Marion, you go to Golden Drive. That road was cut off at a part and you couldn't go right around.
Right through.
That's one of the very first thing that we did.
Okay.
And you showed that this road was passable, that you could drive right through Golden Drive to the other side. We did the road in Holder Hill. That was in very bad road. We got that fixed. Happy Flats in Library. We did a piece of road that was never done before. It was grass. Right? We concreted that, so you could go down the hill, you could go to top of Library and come out through
the lower section. Yeah.
To say that nothing was done is just totally ridiculous. As a matter of fact, there was a year when over $3 million was spent on concrete roads. And for our constituency, I only got $47,000 of $3 million. And I complained bitterly. And I asked, why is it that it's not shared equally?
Where did most of this money go? Which constituency did most of this money go?
Setez.
Okay. St. Patrick.
As a matter of fact, last
East or West, or both?
Well, last budget, the Prime Minister spoke about 21 projects in his constituency.
Okay.
Right, last budget. Now let's...
Well, how many has the previous Minister of Communications done in his?
I think what happened in St. Patrick's is that the both constituencies are so intertwined, right? That a lot of work was done.
Overlapped
in both constituencies, right? But the truth of the matter is, to say that there were no alternatives or people didn't raise anything is just totally ridiculous. I mean, I'm not afraid of truth. I'm absolutely not afraid of truth.
Do your constituents know of these facts? Because
you hear a lot from the constituency.
Well, hold on. We need to balance that, because with the constituency you have a group of the NDC executive or claim to be executive. I don't know what the truth is, but it seems to me that the executive, led by various people, have gone out on a limb literally to criticize you and condemn you for not being in touch with the constituency, for having done nothing for the constituency. Is this the truth, or are they really just painting you into a dark corner?
If you recall, the Prime Minister had some sessions of faithful, if you may call it, on Sundays.
Okay.
These sessions I was never invited to.
Okay.
There were persons of the constituency that was invited to. And in all these sessions.
So you were sidetracked?
From all the report that I got, there were sessions where they bad talk people that they didn't like. Right? And I was one of those. So much so that I remember a sister, not from our constituency, called me and said to me, she's disappointed in me. And I says, for what? And when she outlined some of the things, I said, but this is crazy. Because these are some of the things that was said in these meetings. Now, the guy...
Did you bring that up in cabinet or anything like that to the Prime Minister?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. But I said to some of my cabinet colleagues then, I said, this cabinet is brought down to a place of hypocrisy. Because when you bad talk people on Sunday and come and laugh and chat and have meal with them on Monday, I mean, this is total hypocrisy, right? And you act as though nothing has happened, right? You cannot continue that way. And I said to them when this was going, I said to them, I said, listen, I will not sit in here while this continues, right? And this is where my thoughts about leaving this whole thing began, when I saw the way things were.
Let me ask.
But you asked me a question I didn't answer yet, concerning whether these things were known in the constituency. I remember saying here on the program that I am not like a fowl who lays an egg and cackles, and the whole world know. I was elected to do a job, and I did the best job I could, right? And I don't think it was necessary for me to, every piece of thing I do, to blow a trumpet. I don't think it was necessary. But the persons within the within the villages where these things have happened, they know what has taken place, right? They know, right? And
what's your rapport with those specific areas?
I do have a good rapport with a lot of persons. No, so when I hear, for example, coming to what happened right after I left. Before I left office, before I resigned, I had asked for some support, right, from the government of Morocco to do some things in the constituency. They sent me some money, right, and there were some things that I earmarked to do with it. You know, it's so crazy for people to say, well, oh, you said that you didn't get any money to do nothing. Where you get money now from? Right? I'm not the Minister for Finance, you know. I don't have my hand in the government purse to say I could take some money and go with it. Right? If they don't do or give you the support that you do, where are you going to get the money from?
Let me ask you a question. I'm actually intrigued by what you just said. How can the government of Morocco give Karl Hood funding to do specific projects in his constituency? Should that not be a government-to-government thing?
Now here's what happened, right? And that happens all the time.
Okay.
You have the government, you have groups or foundations or so attached to the government. You make requests, you share with them whatever what you need, right? And sometimes they respond, sometimes they don't respond. Sometimes they respond to you directly, or they don't respond to you directly. It depends upon the kind of rapport you have with them.
So let me ask you a question. Physically, how you got this money? In a bag,
No, it came
briefcase, in a suitcase?
It's a good thing you asked this. It came to the bank. As a matter of fact, I went to the FIU first, and let them know the money was
source of funds coming.
Yes, and then I went to the bank. I filled out the declaration, so that as I said to them, I don't want anything to be hanging over me to say that I did this or whatever, right? I made it very explicitly clear as to what is happening, where the money is coming from.
The cabinet knew about it?
Right?
The cabinet knew about that money?
The money came after I left cabinet.
Oh, it came after you left.
Yeah.
Okay.
It came to the cabinet after I left cabinet.
So that's the so-called album money that they say you got?
I didn't get no money from album.
No, I'm asking, is that the so-called? There was a rumor that you got album money.
Or maybe that's the money that bought the Hummer?
Those funds were accounted for in advance to the FIU and spent in the constituency. All right, okay. Now let me ask you again, and you know, this is the end of September. We're coming up to October, and the underlying currents, the tones that I'm hearing. I mean, this brings me back 30 years.
Yeah.
You know, now Minister Roberts resigned a couple of nights ago, and in essence she said she was tired of the infighting. In your letter, in our discussion, you referred to the infighting. I mean, this seems like a huge dysfunctional arrangement.
It was a dysfunctional arrangement, serious dysfunctional arrangement. And it's all of this that brought me to the place where I felt I needed to say to all and sundry,
enough is enough.
That I had no confidence in the leadership.
Okay.
Right. Because to me, leadership creates the environment for people to work together. And if the environment is not created for there to be good working and harmonious relationship, who do you hold responsible?
Let me ask you a question. Clearly, at the end of the day, the buck stops up top. If, for instance, the Prime Minister was sitting where you are, how do you think he'd respond to the question that he hadn't managed his team well, he let them get out of hand? What do you think his response to that would be?
The Prime Minister has an uncanny ability to justify anything.
That's a strong statement, Pastor Hood.
But that's the truth.
Okay.
And so I can tell you what he might say, you know. I've heard him make statements similar, you know, questions like that. He said that
Pastor Hood to finish answering.
I cannot tell you what he would say.
Okay.
But I know he's able to justify a lot.
He probably might say, Andrew, they're all big people, so you don't have to, you know.
But let me take you to task, Godfrey. If the PM might say that, and this is hypothetical, that they're all big people, so you'd expect everybody to behave like big people. It's apparent they have not, or that some have not, given the chaos that the country is descended to a standstill. The cabinet is dysfunctional. Funny enough, I heard the Minister of Information saying that was to the effect that he's glad all the troublemakers are gone. They're now ready to move the country forward. How would you respond to that, MP Hood?
I would respond to that by laughing.
Okay.
Right? Because you cannot tell me that you have a team of persons and more than half of the team is dissatisfied with things that are going, and these are just troublemakers. I mean,
rebels and troublemakers.
Actually, they were referred to this morning in the news as renegades.
Oh, renegades.
Renegades, right?
Gentlemen, I'll tell you what, we need to take a break right now. We'll be right back. We need to see this. We need to take a break.
Pastors are renegade.
Bob Insecticide Spray kills flying and crawling insects. Available in supermarkets and shops nationwide.
Get serious. Get Bob.
Superior one-on-one customer service. Phenomenal products customized to your individual style and need. Fast and efficient service are all attributes that have made St. Louis the leading manufacturers of windows and doors for over 30 years in St. Lucia. And we are now pleased to extend our services to you. Try our new single-hung windows, which can be tilted for easy cleaning. Our famous casement windows, which locks with keys for added security. Our gliders, projected aluminum and heavy sliding windows, sliding and commercial doors, commercial shop fronts, and more. Visit us today, building number 19 Frequente Industrial Park, St. George's, or call us at 439-6538.
Chillaxing with Glenelg Spring Water.
Expertly crafted and designed with exciting colors, giving you that unique standout look. Your most valuable fashion investment, land. Take it with you.
Owning a vehicle is a big investment. That's why care and regular maintenance is of high importance. At Hubbard's Motor Department, our experienced and qualified technicians will provide the recommended care and maintenance, ensuring your vehicle is in excellent working condition. Visit Hubbard's Motor Department in Mungay, St. George. We'll do the rest. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable pricing.
We now return to Watchdog with Godfrey.
Welcome back. And Andrew, you've been taking most of the time to listen to actually enjoy your own Karl. But there's another issue I want to raise. I listened to the Minister of Finance a couple of days ago making reference to your motion, which words to the effect that your motion actually lacks substance and would have been defeated
dead in the water.
Dead in the water. Yeah. What does he mean by that?
I think he's hilarious. I mean, is there any comedy club in Canada?
He should go.
He would be a hit.
He'd be a hit. Oh my God!
Fat men trying to be careful.
Because look, if it lacks substance, then it's worth nothing, right? Mm-hmm. Then why don't you just debate it and let's throw it out? Right, because it's
going nowhere.
It can go nowhere, right? So why?
So there's no need to prorogue Parliament. There's no need to.
Look, frankly, the prorogation of Parliament to me is like a palace coup, right? To me is usurping the will of the people.
Okay.
Parliament is actually the will of the people. Is the people's parliament
and the people's business.
And the people's business. Okay. When you shut that down, I want to operate by executive order, right? You have circumvented the will of the people, right? Okay. And look, Parliament was open in March. You shut it down in September. Now you got to ask yourself why.
Maybe they're just tired.
They're just tired.
I don't know. I'm playing devil's advocate.
Would you like to enter the comedy club too?
Okay.
Actually, sometimes I listen to things and I just laugh because if something is without substance, then okay, show it up to me without substance, right? Let's go. And to say, look, I don't know anything about the economy. Sure, I don't know economics. I didn't study economics, right? But I know when people cannot find jobs, when mothers can't take care of the children, when it's hard for people just to live, something has to be absolutely totally wrong, right? So don't tell me I have to learn it's a common sense before book sense.
Yeah.
I don't have to learn the book sense to look at the practical sense and see that everything is going bad. The hotels are in trouble. Businesses
we've not managed to attract any, I think, significant, if any at all, investment. Foreign investment has virtually been little or no local investment. Let me put it to you, perhaps, if you're not an economist in language, you might understand, Pastor. If you have a meeting, revival meeting, church meeting, and you had 10 members, and each one puts $1, you have $10. All right, we can understand that. Now, if your expenses exceed $10, and all you have are 10 members giving you $1, you're going to bust.
You must bust.
Okay, so then you either need to get new members, or you need to sell those 10 members something. Okay, so doesn't that translate into the national economy just the same? So you don't need to have an economics degree. In fact, if you're a minister of religion, you could understand that.
Exactly. Look, I understand it perfectly correctly.
Okay.
I understand when the poor section of the economy has money, disposable income, the economy must work. But they are the ones who are going to spend.
Okay.
You give people who have money, more money, they're going to save. You give those who do not have some money, they're going to spend, right? Okay. And they will keep things going.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
To me, it's a good thing. Okay. It's a good thing to get people spending. So when they can't have money to spend, when the ports are practically dead, now tell me, do you need to have an economic degree to realize that the economy is in trouble?
No, you need just to be able to see.
I think you wanted a clip, and I think the clip is ready.
Yeah,
can we run it?
Let's see it. Yeah.
No say or whatever it is, they are still dangerous because they confuse. And when people are confused and disoriented and undecided, they probably will make a lot of statements that can still muddy the water and confuse people to that extent. But really, they have no power or control at the level of the NDC. So we're looking eagerly towards the convention.
You are desperate,
confused.
You are confused. you are dangerous
and undecided.
What say you to the charges?
Do I tell you, fat man judge, look out. no, seriously. This is just absolutely ridiculous. Tell me what's confusing or what's wrong and dangerous with speaking the truth. You know, let me read the last paragraph in the letter I wrote to the Prime Minister. I said, Prime Minister, when I spoke during the budget debate, I spoke as the chief diplomat, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, and the parliamentary representative for the constituency of St. George Southeast. I spoke of my observation over the past 3.5 years, both as Minister and Member of Parliament. I took an oath to serve faithfully, which I intend to live up to. I will therefore endeavor to continue to provide faithful, honest, and sincere advice to the government based on research and intelligence compiled by my ministry. They may not be popular, they may not be adhered to, but please be assured, Prime Minister, they will be honest. Okay. Now this is what I have sought to do, to be frank, to be honest, to be straight. What's confused and dangerous about that?
Well, you did say early on that you intended to be a different type of politician.
Exactly. So what's dangerous about that?
Okay.
What's dangerous in calling a spade a spade? What's dangerous to saying to the Prime Minister that within the Ministry of Finance there is some serious conflict of interest going on? What is dangerous in that?
Well, it might be dangerous to protected interests.
Protected interests, right?
Okay.
Right. So if you have protected interests, then my words will be dangerous to you.
Okay.
But I am committed to speaking straight, speaking facts, and speaking the truth. And if person don't like it, I'm sorry.
I have one quick question that I must ask you. When you resigned, you said you were through with politics. I saw an interview the other day that kind of hinted that maybe you would reconsider or rescind this decision. That you said, words to the effect, you had many discussions with people. Where is Karl Hood right now?
Here's where I am. I'm sitting here on a chair.
That too.
That too.
Beyond that.
But the point is, when I resigned from Parliament, from cabinet, right? My intention was to serve out the term, take care of the constituency the best way I can until the end of that, pack up my bags and walk away from this. Because I felt it has done me no good, really.
Okay.
It has not enhanced me, it has not made me better. As a matter of fact, I'm much worse off now than when I went in. And in speaking to members of the constituency and other persons in the country, a lot of them have said to me, why don't you stay in it? Why don't you consider running again? Why don't you consider running as an independent? And I have thought about it.
Okay.
I have thought about what they have said to me and the reasons that they have given to me as to why I should. I haven't made a full decision yet as what I'm going to do. But frankly, my mind was just to walk away from all of this. But I'm going to take the time. I'm going to go back and do what I did before when I got into this politics. I took the time to pray about this and ask God's direction on this. I'm taking the time to do that right now. Right. What I'm saying is that I'm not going to tell you I'm totally out at this point in time. Based upon all the things that has happened, all the persons who have come to me and raised issues and give me reasons. And so I am going to just take my time and see what happens.
But you know there isn't much time available, yeah?
I know.
Because there's a possibility that election could be before the end of the year. I mean, you hear it every day. So you really don't have much time.
It's a possibility it could be until next July. Right? Right?
Next July. But at some point they will have to reconvene the Parliament.
Well,
after 6 months, yes.
After 6 months.
They don't have to,
What happens?
I mean, the prorogation of Parliament could
unless it's not dissolved.
Could end at dissolution. They could
So they can dissolve the
Parliament and go to
and without having a meeting or anything like that. Suppose they decided against that and decided to attempt to reconvene or reopen Parliament. I mean, there has to be a throne speech.
Yeah.
There has to be a budget by about March. At that point in time, what happens?
You really believe they'll have another budget?
I have no idea. I'm asking.
I don't think that. Look, frankly, I don't think they'll get
Now,
another budget.
if they did attempt to have a budget or read a budget, what would be your position vis-a-vis your motion of no confidence? Would you vote for it, against it? Even if you're not allowed your motion of no confidence, would you use that opportunity to express your displeasure?
Well, frankly, let's understand this. There would not be a budget.
Okay.
Let's be practical.
We can't run the country.
But let's be practical. There will not be another budget. Right? And the reason for that is that you have 6 members who, quote unquote,
support the
government. 6. To get a budget passed in there, need 8. And it'd be a very tough thing because, frankly, I know they don't talk to me. I don't know if they talk to the others. Right?
Okay.
So it'd be very difficult to pass a budget in the first place. Secondly, and I think this is why they prorogue Parliament, the fear that should they not prorogue Parliament, should that come to a vote, possibility of losing no confidence, and the Prime Minister losing a no confidence vote, how do you go into a convention? I understand that, yes, they may have tried to stall that until after the convention. Because I doubt they would want to go into a convention after the Prime Minister have lost a no confidence vote.
Okay.
So frankly, I say this to you. I don't see them coming back to Parliament. But if they do come back to Parliament, I will surely, absolutely, totally, unequivocally resubmit a vote of no confidence, a motion of no confidence.
Now, the PM comes out of the convention, they get a new slate of candidates, they're re-elected, they're re-energized, and they're ready to take on the rebels, the NNP, whoever, all comers. I mean, is that a possible scenario? The PM gets a slate that he can work with, he energizes his party, and he decides, I'm ready to take on anybody coming. Do you think that's a course of action that is possible?
Well, I think that the course of action there.
That would have to be the course of action.
And what do you think are the chances of success?
How long will that snowball last in hell?
Gentlemen, on that note, we have to put a wrap on for today. We're out of time. Karl, 30 seconds quickly. Just closing remarks.
Well, I think the politics in Grenada has deteriorated to a very scornful, ugly thing. It's difficult to tell a young person to get involved in politics. As a matter of fact, one young lady said to me, when you look at the examples that are being shown by politicians, no wonder young people chopping up one another with cutlasses, because there seem to be no conflict resolution. There seem to be nothing that says that if you disagree with somebody, that you could disagree agreeably. So it's a difficult thing. Now, I would really hope that we could have a change in the tenor of the politics, that it could be respect for one another, even though you don't share the values or share the thoughts, but it could be respect, and that we could honor our country as true patriots. This is what I would hope, that we could build something that makes sense, rather than continue with this ugliness. You don't have to denigrate a man just because you don't like him, or because he stands up against something that you've done. We see things differently, and because we do see things differently, we will not all agree, and so we have to leave room for people who disagree with us. But it seems that in the present direction or that is being taken here, is that if you disagree, you become a devil. If you disagree, you all of a sudden become the worst person now. And this is not good for the country. It will never be good for the country.
I like the one thing you said there about changing the tenor of the discussion, and I would encourage that. And I actually remain quite dismayed that a group of individuals who had so much goodwill and still have a certain amount of goodwill could allow this situation to get to where it is. And the only thing I can do is ask you to put on your ministerial, as in pastoral hat, and ask you, Pastor, pray for Grenada and pray for them.
I've been doing that all the time.
Chairman, I want to thank you very much. There's nothing I can add. I think I'm so overwhelmed by the drama that's taking place in Grenada right now. But folks, that's our program this evening. Remember, Watchdog is Mondays at 8, repeated Saturdays at 8. Do join us then, and remember, the dog is watching.
Yes, sir.
Godfrey's Wardrobe, provided by Adonis Men's Store, Spice and more, where you can now receive 50% off on clothing.
Watchdog came to you compliments Western Union, the fastest way to send and receive money worldwide. And furniture for Watchdog provided by Hubbards.